Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Saturday. It's Daryl here. It is bright and freaking early, man. It's 3 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. Okay, in this video, I'm going to tell you right off the bat. First thing I'm going to say is I don't have the answers. I really don't. I'm trying to figure things out just like everybody else here, but I want to share with you the images I got in my mind. Three curious occurrences happened in the United States, to the world, some of them to the world too. But I'm going to talk about the United States. Three curious, troubling occurrences happened here in the United States in the last 3 days. And I'm just like everybody else. I don't have the answers to this, but I've been reading the comments. And I had some images that came to mind. The first things that came to mind, one of the big things that came to mind is how little we really know. Like how just over like 60 years ago, we were talking on landlines, right? Phones, wires connected to each other's houses. And now we have things like this. And none of us even know how this works. I honestly, it just amazes me. 60 years ago, we had, or like in the 1960s, like when they went to the moon. Now, how did they even go to the moon? There was a whole the computer in here would fill up an entire room, and we had phone networks, and now everything, all the information, any question I could ask, like what color? Why is the sky blue? Why are walls called walls? Everything is in this little, and we don't even know how it works. I don't. I mean, we all have a basic idea of how this works, but really, look at the size of this. How in the touchscreen, it's amazing. It really is. I've been reading this book recently too. It's a new book by Neil deGrasse Tyson, and it makes me realize how little we really do know. It wasn't all that long in the whole span of human history. Our little appearance here in the United States on Earth has been just a little flash in the pan in the entire picture of the big picture. Okay, three occurrences. There was a mass ejection double solar flare that's happened in the last couple of days. The sun ejects material from itself. It creates big solar flares, and there was a double solar flare. And I'll pop the links down below. And sometimes this can affect, apparently, from what I've heard, it can affect electromagnetic activity, phone service, and stuff like that. So that just happened in the last couple of days. But they say it's not connected to the phone outage, which is the next thing I'm going to talk about, the phone outage. 71,000 people, which really, if you think about it, AT&T has like 250 million customers, I think, just AT&T, and then there's Verizon and all the other companies. But 71,000 people, that's a large town. In the whole picture, that's a very small, and it was people from New York to California, the way I understand it. Chicago, New York, different cities, just a few people. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. They say it was human error or some kind of a problem in the cloud, which to say is human error. Okay. And the third thing, now that just has popped up, is another balloon going over the United States. And the reason I'm making this video is because I think the balloon just kind of sets people off. And I'm going to read you some of the comments here because it just, like I said, I don't have the answers to this. But I found the way people react to all these things. It reminds me, two images came to mind when I read the comments to like on Twitter to this. There's a balloon going to the United States at 40,000, another balloon, right? And it's at 40 to 45,000 feet. Apparently, they scrambled jets over Colorado, I think it was, and they said it's not. It wasn't shot down. It said there's just a box, a 2 by 2 foot box hanging from it. It doesn't have the that's another thing. They've been showing these pictures, and these pictures, from what I understand, aren't of what's going over the United States right now. What's going over is just the balloon with a box underneath, a small box. And before, China said it was a weather instruments, which kind of makes sense. Now, all three of these things happening at once, it reminds me of two pictures came to mind. Like, I think it was 2001, Space Odyssey, is that what the movie was called? Where at the beginning, with the monolith, and there was the apes all around this monolith, and they're throwing rocks, and they're freaking out because, there's this big square object there. They're lack of understanding of being scared and attacking something. The other thing that came to mind was a Twilight Zone episode. I think it was called Panic on Maple Street or something like that. Let me know in the comments. I'll see if I could find it and put it down below. And this is a Twilight Zone episode. And, it was a nice, close-knit 1950s community. Nice, street, neighbor, hey, neighbor, all that stuff. Two cars in the driveway, two kids, and, just idyllic 1950s America. Until things start happening. The lights start blinking on and off. The cars start up by themselves. The lights start flashing, and then they start accusing each other. They start getting all paranoid. Hey, Tom, who do you talk to in that radio of yours down in the basement? And who talks to you? I still remember that line. And then they start attacking each other. And that's what these three occurrences remind me of how little, the way we panic and just react to things, and how little we really know about anything. And, what we go to right away, it's Joe Biden. And it's China, and they're trying to get information, and they're cutting off our phone. A lot of people said it was the phones. The balloon has something to do with the phones. There's a couple things. I got a couple of problems with that, because the outages were kind of before the balloon started coming over the country. There was outages in New York before the balloon was still over California. And another thing that comes to mind is the Chinese have satellites, right? Now, why not? What's the purpose of sending a balloon over our country? If satellites, you could go to Google Earth, right? I could go to Google Earth and look at Taylor Swift's house, close up. I could look at her swimming pool. I could do that. I could look at anything in the world, So what really, if I could do that on Google Earth, what's the purpose of them sending? They see it in real time. I get that, but with satellites, what would be the purpose of sending this thing over? And it's kind of obvious, isn't it? If the Chinese, because that's the big conspiracy now, that the Chinese, nobody's talking about the solar flares, which makes the most sense to me. Everybody's saying that, AT&T, the outages must have been China. This balloon, shoot it down. That's the first reaction. Shoot it down. It's got, I guess, I see memes. If it goes over Texas, and it's got all, the Texans with their guns pointed up in the air. What if this? What if this? What if it's this? Though? What if China, because China makes a lot of cellular phones, what if they, because we knew that there was going to be a double mass ejection of the sun. What if this box has something to do with that? What if this box was from China, but it was just to study solar flares to help us? So next time these solar flares occur, that they're, that it doesn't affect our phones in this way. What if it's that? Nobody came up with that scenario. Instead it's like, shoot down the box, destroy it. But what if doing that would make things worse? Because that's a possibility. What if this box is to help us next time there's a double, because that kind of makes sense, doesn't it? This box floats over from China, which makes a lot of cell phones, has a lot to do with this technology. And the solar flares, to me, it seems like a possibility. They say that the solar flares didn't affect the phone outages, but I don't know. It could be a reason not to be. See, I'm just like everybody else. I'm coming up with conspiracy theories too. But there's so many scenarios. We go right to the worst ones, like in that Twilight Zone episode, where they start accusing each other, or the monkeys throwing things at the monolith. Like it's a scary bad thing because we don't understand it. We go right to this attack mode that somebody's trying to, and we don't even know how things work. And I like I said, I'm one of us. I'm one of these people that don't know how these things work either, or why this is happening. But my point is, maybe there's a very big possibility that the three things are connected, or maybe not connected at all, and maybe connected in a way that doesn't even occur to us, because right away we go to this thing with China and Joe Biden and politics, and that could blind us to just some thoughts. I want to read you guys some of the comments. Okay, I'm going to go right to the one that just amazed me most. I was going to save this for last. Listen to this. This is from Rusty Cannon, and it shows a picture of Donald Trump So this is a Trump supporter. Everyone go outside today and tomorrow and watch, especially if you live near military bases. I saw it last time. He's talking about, or she or whoever is talking about the balloon. Okay, so this person, this Trump supporter, is telling everybody in the United States to run outside and look for the balloon. Literally, that's what this person's saying. Now think about how, the size of the United States and your chances of seeing it, and if it's going over, right away this person assumes it's going over military bases. Run outside and look for it. How it makes me lose a little hope for humanity when I read a tweet like that. This person is saying, everybody should run outside and look for it because he saw it last time. A balloon at 45,000 feet. What are the chances of even noticing that up in the sky? Kind of stupid, just a little bit. All right. They won't worry till it's over the United States and into the ocean. Almost all these tweets, I'll put the link down below. Almost every one of these tweets is a Trump supporter, angry at Joe Biden. Hey, maybe they're right, maybe they're not. I don't know. I don't have the answers, but maybe it's, what if we shoot it down? And it was just, maybe it was something from AT&T or Verizon or a cell phone manufacturer to study the mass solar ejections and how they react with our telephone communications. And by shooting it down, they lose all the information that they gathered. So next time there's a double mass ejection, we won't have the information. And you know what I mean? We could be screwing ourselves by shooting it down. We could. You don't know. Why resort to violence and panic as your go-to? That's my point. Okay. Not to be a conspiracy theorist or anything. Well, that's just something right there. But shall we name the bad boy AT&T down, or is it just the conspiracy theorist in me? I don't know. But I think the solar flares, I would lean towards the solar flares. Nobody says anything about solar flares in here. Yay, spy balloons. Paint your roofs blue. That's a new one to me. Painting your roof blue, you won't notice. The grass is great. Paint your roofs blue. Now, if the balloon's up there looking down here, why would you paint your roof blue? Maybe paint it green. So why would you paint your roof blue? What sense does that make? It says it right here. Don't worry. That massive solar outage, that massive cellular outage and pharmacy hacking was just a solar flare. Shaking my head. Okay, so now he's tied in. I didn't even hear about this pharmacy hacking. Now they threw something else in there. I'm surprised I don't see anything about COVID or HIV or something like that. Okay. Why is the U.S. military tracking? Take balloon down now. Why wouldn't, I guess NORAD, I'll put the links down below, NORAD was tracking this. And I'm kind of glad they were tracking it, but they didn't shoot it down. They didn't deem it a threat. And you know what? I'm okay with that. I'm more worried about the mass solar ejections than I am this stupid balloon floating over the United States. It seems a little low tech if China was trying to do something malicious. Doesn't it seem a little? And they have spy satellites. What would be the purpose of a balloon with a little box hanging underneath? Really? Doesn't it seem a little? And the fact that we're going to see it up there, it almost seems like if it was them, they'd want us to shoot it down. If it was that. Okay. Looks like we figured out why the cell service went down. Again, no mention of the mass solar ejection. Hey, MAGA, don't try shooting 17 miles in the air again. No, there's a good freaking point. Is 40,000 feet, 45,000 feet, is that 17 miles? I don't know. I don't think so. So nobody's making any sense here. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Biden is a joke for the entire world. All right, right to Biden, right to politics. Was the solar flare, was that Biden too? I'm just asking for a friend. Okay, don't worry. I'm sure we'll take care of it in a few days. China has returned for a second tour of the continental U.S. Again, if I could look at things on, it's not in real time, but if I could look at Google Earth and see somebody's garage, I could see the garage at the house I used to live at. What it seems a little low tech. Okay, here's a meme. I'm going to use it on I'll probably use it on my thumbnail. It's that hooded internet guy with the mustache, that dude. And it says, whenever there's a big story in the media, look for the story they're trying to distract you from. Ooh. So it's all them now. The solar ejection, the phones, the balloon. They are trying to distract you. Ooh, sounds scary. All right. Would save millions of taxpayer dollars to have one military aircraft shoot it down rather than multiple military aircraft follow it. It's a spy balloon just like that last year. If we fly a spy balloon over China, you think they would just let it go? Doubtful. Now again, we go right to, it seems a little low tech for China, doesn't it? And it's kind of obvious because we're going to see it. They know we're going to see it. They know we're probably going to shoot it down. So it almost seems like if it was China, they'd want us to shoot it down. And what if it was something to study? What if it's actually something by a company, like a tech company, to see how solar flares, and maybe that's why they didn't shoot it down. What if it's something that will actually help us the next time our phones go out and we shoot it down and destroy it? You see my point here? We always go right to the violence, right to the panic, like the monkeys, And I'm one of them. It's not just, I'm not just saying everybody else. Don't shoot it down. Do a controlled descent of the spy balloon. This time, keep the payload intact and then study the spy technology and the collected surveillance data. Iran gives our U.S. drones straight to China to study. So it amazes me. This guy reads a lot of spy books, because this guy has all the answers. He knows it was a spy balloon last time. He wants to study the controlled, the collected data. This guy has all the answers. Hey, at least I don't profess that. I have no idea. I don't know why the solar flares happened. I don't know if it affected the phone service. I don't know if the balloon has something to do with it or not to do with it. I don't know. Does any of it have to do with Taylor Swift? I don't know. Britney Spears? Maybe. I don't know. Okay, now here's the official. I think this is from Raw's alerts. The U.S. military aircraft is tracking an unidentified high-altitude balloon flying over the western part of the United States. And these phone outages were all over the country. So when this thing was just coming over California, we had phone outages in New York. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. It really doesn't. I don't know. Just saying. Currently, a U.S. military aircraft is tracking an unidentified high-altitude balloon flying over the western part of the United States. The military aircraft spotted the balloon and determined that it is not a threat, and its origin and purpose remains unknown at this time. The unidentified high-altitude balloon is drifting eastward in the jet stream, with earlier reports indicated that the balloon was going to cross over Colorado today. So I believe this was yesterday. So I think it's supposed to end up in Georgia, and then out into the Atlantic. Okay, so it's not even going. From my calculations, it's not even 1,000 miles at any time close to New York City in my area where some of these outages occurred, or Chicago, or Detroit. I think there was multiple. It seems like multiple cities, and 71,000 people out of 255 million AT&T subscribers, which is a very small amount. So if it was like some kind of a phone attack, it wasn't a very big one. Maybe it was just a test. I don't know. I don't have the answers. But what if it's something we didn't even think of? What if taking down this balloon is a harmful thing? What if it was studying the solar flares to prevent phones from going out? To me, that's more of a possibility. Just saying, maybe not go to the panic mode all the time. I'll be back later with another video. I can't believe I'm up to 20 minutes already. You guys have a good Saturday.